Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Tonight, the New York Knicks bounced back and took the huge dub over the Philly 76ers at MSG. This was a beatdown, man, from start to finish. And the season series is now won with the New York Knicks as we continue this climb in the East and this race for the 3rd, 4th seed. And this one was a big win, wire to wire, as OG Anunoby returned, and Josh Hart triple-double, right? 19, 20, and 10. Man, a huge night for these New York Knicks, and what a way to bounce back like they needed to. Let's get ready to chop this thing up, fam, with the best chat in the biz, right? We've got some great news to chop up with Mitchell Robinson also getting closer to returning, man. That's going to be big. But we got our look at OG Anunoby returning, man. For me, that was the story of the game, man. The OG effect continues. 13 and 2 whenever OG Anunoby is in the starting lineup playing for the New York Knicks, man. We are a completely different team, right? As we're going to break it down tonight. But his defense was solid, spacing the floor out. There you see running the fast break. He's all over the place, man. I wouldn't want to play against OG Anunoby. And that's how you know how much of an impact he has, right? As the New York Knicks dominated tonight on the boards. We got 32 assists. The ball was moving, outstanding all night. We got 35% from 3 as well. And we held Philly to just 79 points, man. The 3rd time in a row we've held a team below 80. Man, what an outstanding way to bounce back. As we now hit the road, we take on Portland, and we'll talk about that later tonight, man. As we've done, given out the grades, we get given out a game ball, or maybe 2 tonight. We'll see. How you guys feeling? Welcome in, chat. Great to be with you. And I want to get your thoughts out there, man. I'll give you mine on this big performance. Obviously, we needed to erase the sour taste from the last game. These games always are going to go back and forth. Philly tried to hang, but they just couldn't, man. They welcome back Tyrese Maxey, tonight. But the New York Knicks defense was on point tonight, and we actually hit shots, which was the major thing, the difference between last game and this one, man. And we give out your flowers. We give out Hart's flowers as I bring up a statistic we can celebrate with, and that is Josh Hart becomes the 6th Knicks player with just 4 triple doubles in a season, right? And there's still 17 games left, right? So Josh Hart, man, again finished with 19 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists, right? Absolutely unbelievable. He'll get the game ball, the first game ball tonight, A+ performance and a gold star, because I feel like Hart, if he isn't, he's one of the best role players in the NBA, right? And you can't take that away from the man. Which other role player can give you those kind of numbers? It's absolutely unbelievable, man. As I've got in the caption, Wilt numbers tonight, man. Unbelievable, man. You say what you want about Hart's game, right? He's got that pride. He's got that dog in him where, he hates losing. And we love that in players because, you want to answer whenever you have a bad performance and you bounce back. That's the way to do it, fam. Salute Almost Zen, John in the building, David, Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights, salute. Kevin, Nick Yak, Deuce McBride hit some shots as well. We got Brunson and Hart out of the game with 6 minutes and 29 seconds remaining, right? We don't get to see that often, man. We're going to shout out Tibbs for doing the right thing, man, and getting the starters out of there, man. But yeah, great way to bounce back. And orange and blue skies from here on out, right? We're back to 11 games over 500, 38 and 27. And we hit the road now, but with OG back. And we've got some news on Mitchell Robinson, right? Before we dive into the numbers tonight and give out the grades, Fred Katz is reporting pre-game. Tibbs said Mitchell Robinson can now run, jump, and is not doing contact yet, but that's going to come really soon, within the next week. So, man, if Mitch is going to be taking contact, full practice within the next week, he could be back with, 13, 12, 10 games left in the season still, and that's going to be big, right? So that's another layer on top of what we're seeing right now with OG's return. And man, we're going to give out OG's flowers tonight, guys. Give out your grades with me. Replay squad salute. And lastly, some news on Randle, which is still a bit murky. He's still in the same situation. He's working out in a controlled situation with controlled contact, which I understand to be, fair because, the shoulder is still healing. It's just unfortunate we don't have yet a date where he's going to be cleared for full contact as well. So we continue to wait on that, right? It's not negative, it's not positive, of course, but we wait, right? We continue to wait for Randle. I think they're doing the right thing because really we just need Randle fit for game one. Obviously, it's going to be really ideal to have a Julius Randle to close the regular season and, to get him some reps. But, we're dealing with a really tricky injury, right? And we don't want the shoulder, to get hit and maybe something happens as well. So we wait, right? We wait to get the full squad back. But, look, man, we hit shots early. Brunson came out firing out of the gate, and that was big as the New York Knicks took a halftime lead, 59-41. It was really important, man, to come out strong, and that's what the New York Knicks did. I thought OG Anunoby was outstanding in the first quarter. He got 5 points, like in the first few minutes, a step back, a baseline midi, and then he drained a corner three as well, just like he never left us, man. It was, I almost shed a tear seeing OG Anunoby back. It signaled to me that it wasn't a mirage from previous life, that he really is a New York Knick, and he can play. My God, can OG Anunoby play? He gets out on the break, he gets steals, and he can do so many things on and off the court, right? Along with Josh Hart, who we're about to give out more flowers to. But look at that spin from OG Anunoby, right? He's a triple threat out there, guys, right? How happy are you to see OG Anunoby back, right? It was a pleasant surprise pre-game, but just, man, great to see him back as well. And we were really going to put the foot on the gas now. Another question I want to ask you guys too: can the New York Knicks go 12-5 now to hit 50 wins? I think it's a real situation. Obviously, we need to go on a little bit of a run. Try not to pick up any losses in the next few games, and get that, get the wins stacked up. But with 17 remaining, 50 wins is still a chance. It's still there, right? Anything's possible with OG now in the fold because we are 13-2 with OG Anunoby in the building, man. 13-2. What a huge impact that is, right? He really is our third best player, but he could do so many things on the court on both sides, which is big, man. Almost in A++ for Hart. Yeah, appreciate you. He's a beast. Yep. John's 17 in the building. The Sixers thought it would be sweet with Maxey back. Laugh out loud, yeah. Once I heard Maxey was returning, I was like, oh, damn. But then we got the news OG's back as well. So, yeah, basically we countered and punched them in the mouth too. Nick Yak with some stats. We had 20 more boards and 15 more assists. Incredible. Yeah, there was a huge level between two teams, but which is funny because we're so close in the standings. But with time, there's going to be separation soon. I think as the New York Knicks now have 17 games remaining, we widen the gap on Philly now, and we're going to look at the standings. But yeah, the New York Knicks hold on to fourth, and we're looking up, right? We're just 3 games out from Cleveland in the third seed for that look right now. Yeah, JJ, I would have loved to see Hart get the 2020 game, 100%. But good to see him out of the game too, man, to protect his health, man. The guy's been holding us down so much, man. Old head in the building, shout out. How you feeling, fam? OG is a big plus. Hart gets a game ball for tonight, right? Yep, so we'll pick it up from there, man. Appreciate you coming through, everyone out here. Smash that like button. The Knicks streets are buzzing. Best game of the season for Hart. I mean, he's had triple doubles before, but the shot's been more consistent since the All-Star break, right? It's had a couple of, down nights, but the shot was back tonight as well. But man, he, rebounding, as again, once I said, before, the gold star is there because Hart is like the best role player in the NBA. I mean, even pundits not associated with the Knicks do often say that, as well. He's a Mr. Fix-It. He fixes gaps. He plugs holes. And on his night, right, he can look like a star, right? And that's why you pay the man 18 million. You see the stack of cash there. He's still on the bargain contract. The contract extension hasn't kicked in until next season, but we've got 4 more years of this. He brings that grit, as an old school fan, like myself from the 90s and a lot of you guys as well, some going back even further, fam. But we're used to seeing a New York Knicks player that, when we win, that lays it all out there. And that's what Hart does most of the time. Sometimes the shot doesn't fall. Sometimes there's 7 turnovers, but you never go to sleep saying Hart didn't leave it all out there, and that's what he does. But yeah, man, he's having a great season, great second half of the season. You see the headband, he was fed up with that, man. He was getting fouled, threw the headband to the bench, and got about the business, and got it done, man. Feels great to get the season series, and big game ball, A+ for Josh Hart, man. What other thoughts have you got? Yeah, we're going to talk about Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic, right? There's going to be nights where so many Knicks are clicking, but some Knicks haven't got it going yet. Burks and Bogey were 2 of those guys tonight. But I felt like, with the starting shuffle up, with OG returning, Precious, who went back to the bench, I thought that looked pretty seamless, man. Precious was amazing tonight as well. Awesome, says Nick Yak. And we're going to give out his flowers in a minute too. But yeah, that was a little bit of a concern I had. When OG returned and when Randle returns, how is everyone going to continue their great play? In smaller minutes. But that was no problem tonight because Precious Achua was awesome, man. I stream A+ as well, man. We're gonna have to start bringing in the A++ tune on the graphic as well. But I try to mix it up. Gold star because he's playing like one of the best role players in the league. And unfortunately, there's no award around the NBA, but we'll make up our own, fam, because you need these guys. You got your superstars on offense and defense. Hart can give you a little bit of both, and sometimes a lot of both on different nights. But right, as we dive into the box score now, what did I feel like was the most impressive thing from Hart? I'm not going to lie, he had about 9 assists by like the halftime, third quarter as well. So I'm going to say that's the most impressive thing for me, the playmaking. Because we know Hart can rebound, we know he can hit some shots, but what's really impressive to me, like super impressive, is 10 assists. Obviously it helps, guys, when everybody's hitting shots and stuff like that. But the fast break, was on tonight. He was at the races, and only 1 turnover. That's probably the second most impressive thing. When you think about it, when you're putting up Wilt numbers with just 1 turnover and plus 32, that's huge. And this is a shorthanded Philly team, but they ain't that shorthanded. They're missing Embiid, but apart from that, they had everybody. Maxi, they got Oubre, Batum, Buddy Hield, Lowry, everyone was playing tonight outside of DeAnthony Melton actually, and Embiid. But right, the New York Knicks put a clear gap between Philly and ourselves. And it's no coincidence, man. We are the better team, which is why I was frustrated, after the last loss. But salute Julian Blum, Knicks Live in the building. Check that man out, dropping some content. Appreciate you coming through the building. And Deuce McBride. Yeah, man, he's going to continue to get his minutes as well. But Hart's last assist to Brunson was really impressive, too. I'm loving OG in terms of the outlet he provides from the drives as well. He can put the ball on the floor. Yeah, he can really finish strong in traffic. And some of the finishes that Precious Achiuwa had were unbelievable, as well. So let's lead into that. As the next guy, we're going to give out the grade to after Hart, who gets the A+. There's going to be a lot of A+s tonight, a lot of A's, and a lot of graphics and accolades. Fam. Once again, man, shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys coming through. Keep the buzz coming. Right, big win. This could really be a huge momentum shift now in the Knicks season, and have us, get to 50 wins and put the foot on the brake, on the gas. Right, no foot on the brakes. Right now, as we're getting healthy, and we're going to talk about Mitchell Robinson in a second, but OG Anunoby made his return. So I think it's fitting that we touch on OG next, because we know Brunson balled out. We know Precious and a lot of great performances came tonight. But yeah, what a monumental, occurrence to have OG Anunoby back with the New York Knicks now, 13-2. I mean, that stat speaks for itself. We held it down. We didn't expect OG to miss this much time. What happened was, initially was just elbow inflammation. It was game to game, and then it became a couple of weeks, or it became a week. We weren't quite sure, and then we found out the bone spurs, the fragments, and then it went quiet for a little bit. And then I was live and I said, look, this is a situation, it's probably going to hamper him for the rest of the season. But if he can play pain-free, we should delay the surgery. But if it's too painful, get the surgery done. And that's what we did. And it's paying off now. I think OG looked fresh, looked healthy. That's going to be huge for the playoffs, right? He's going to have strong legs, and he's going to be ready, right? And tonight, man, he looked like he didn't miss a game, right, if I'm being real. And I'm really not just saying that, man. Like I said, he was one of the best Knicks in the first quarter. And that's huge because the man hasn't played since January 27, I think, right? As I said, man, I almost shed a tear because I kind of, realized it wasn't a mirage, that OG really is a Knick. And we're 13-2 with him, right? And he's going to be huge to beating the Clevelands, the Milwaukees, Orlandos, whoever we get in the first round. OG Anunoby is going to be that beast that's going to feast. So let's look at his numbers, man, on return. What did you guys think? 28 minutes? I thought that's pretty solid. I didn't expect him to play 38, of course, but with Tibbs, you never know. But look, on reflection, I think that's really, really solid. 6 of 11, efficient. What else is new with OG? 2 of 5 from 3, 40%. But basically, I could be looking at the same box score from 2 months ago, and when OG before he went out. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, nice steal, which freed up JB for the fast break to slam it. Stripped Kelly Oubre and kept it moving, man. That was great. Plays physical. That's what I love with OG. He finishes strong again in traffic. Drained a couple mid-range, and popped the 3 like we need. 14 points, plus 28. A steal, 3 turnovers as well. But yeah, happy with the win. Neymar, salute. Old Head says the win gives us the 3-1 season series over the Sixers. Shout out. Roland Chestnut says Hart has a lot of John Starks in him, but Hart is much better rebounding than Starks. Yeah, great comp, fam. They share the same number as well. Hart knows what it's all about, man. JJ says OG had Tobias shook. Clamps. Absolutely. The defense is back, man. 3 games holding teams under 80. As I said earlier in the show, man, that's a throwback. And expect more of it. You know, now that OG's healthy. You know, Mitchell Robinson, you know, which I don't want to really gloss over as well, because I thought I got really excited, guys, when I saw this news. As I bring up, man, it's pretty clear to me now that Mitch will return before Randle. I really felt Randle would be the second one to return, but I think they're being extra cautious with Juju, as they should. But it looks like Mitchell Robinson has really started to progress all the way to running, jumping, and almost ready to do contact, which should come very, very soon. Reporting all the beat writers as well who heard it from Tom Thibodeau's mouth. So there's no secrecy basically on Mitch's progress. I think everyone's really excited. Mitchell Robinson, we didn't know, you know, whether he would make it in time before the playoffs or, you know, throughout the playoffs, etc. But it's looking like Mitchell Robinson is going to be back in the regular season. And be ready to be taken contact in the next within the next week as well, which is great because it was a very, very serious injury, probably the most serious out of everyone, considering the leg, you know, and the surgery that he had to have as well. But yeah, man, great to see the big fella almost back. What's that going to be like, man? It's going to take our defense to the best in the league, right? Yeah, legitimately, it was the best in the league with OG and Randle, even when Mitch was out. Mitch back with Precious protecting the rim as well. Man, a lot of good headaches to have, you know, with Tom Thibodeau and the decisions that he's going to have to make. But you know, our defense goes from strength to strength with this man, you know, in the lineup. We're going to do some stats in the next week or so once we get more games back with OG. But holding, you know, the opponent to 79 points tonight, that's going to show up well on the OG radar in terms of all the games he's played. You know, man, he punked them, you know, tonight as well. You don't get a clear lane drive, you know, with OG guarding. He can protect the rim a little as well because he's got a good vertical. He knows how to defend as well. There's something to be said about the physical aspects, but there's something to be said about IQ. You know, to be a good defender, you also need good defensive IQ. OG doesn't foul, if you notice. He holds his hand up. You know, he gets the strip when it's there, but he also doesn't gamble, and that's the fundamentals of a great defender as well. He also reads the play, you know. He reads the play really well. He anticipates what the opponent's going to do as well, man. So he's in your head. He's literally in your pocket, and he's in their head as well, man. You know, and he should make defensive first team. What do you guys think? With that said, man, let me get up his grade. And firstly, let's pull up the first accolade, which is a gold star signature type performance for an all defensive player in the league. He might make second team, first team. I need to look at some of the numbers around the league. But yeah, man, I think, you know, 13-2 with the New York Knicks, his impact is huge. On the Raptors, it wasn't really, you know, clear because, you know, they weren't a good team. You know, and they had troubles in other areas. But with the Knicks, we're a good team. But OG came and we became better as well. You know, when one player goes to a good team and that team becomes even better, then you know you're playing with a serious player. With this man. What are you guys feeling with OG? Doc Trade salute. Is OG a max guy? I think he is because he's gonna get the max. I think. I personally feel like, you know, he's gonna get probably something, between the 28 to 30 mil. I think, which is what's been spoken about. But yeah, in terms of what I've seen when he's healthy, I believe that his impact is good enough, to get paid that kind of money. Um, could it be a little bit of an overpay? It's tough to really evaluate that because, if he helps the team really get to that next level, um, is huge. But I think in the playoffs, that's going to be, a real reflection of what OG is capable of doing, man. When the defense is tighten up, um, etc. Now you'd love to see him play, be more healthy. Uh, there is a little bit of concern about his durability. Um, he hasn't really played over 65 games for a lot of his career, but man, when he does play, yeah, he's huge. But I think he will get the max. I can't see the Knicks, shortchanging him. But I'd love to hear what you guys think too. That's just my opinion. I wanna know what you guys think. Would you pay OG Anunoby, the full amount he's deserved of? I think he can get 30 million. But yeah, everything's relative because the salaries is going up. Um, the cap is going up as well with the new TV rights around the league, man. Knicks Live says Mitch back, Randle back. The league better watch it. Right? Yeah, man, in the nick of time. Uh, and imagine, I know it's tough to go back, but imagine if these guys didn't go down. We were the hottest team in the league, 9-game winning streak, and we were ready to top the East. I felt like we could have really pushed Boston if these guys didn't go down. Um, and if not, the second seed would have been locked up. Now, as I take a quick look, Milwaukee's in second on 42 wins. We're only 5 wins off. Uh, we're only 4 losses and 5 wins away from second spot. Now think of all these games that OG, Mitch, Randle have missed. We would have been in the second seed. I felt, as well. So yeah, as we keep the buzz coming, after the Gold Star, um, he won't get a game ball. OG Anunoby, that goes to Josh Hart tonight, but he's going to get the stack because he's going to get re-signed, like the chat was saying. I felt like he's deserving of the max, um, and he's also going to get an A for me tonight, man. Just short of an A plus because he didn't. I think he wasn't needed to really break this game open, in 28 minutes. But 6 of 11, man, 2 of 5 from deep is really, really solid. Got the rebounds, a couple of assists, a steal. Helped change momentum, 14 points, plus 28, right? Really, really solid return in his first game. Yeah, and considering he's missed so much time, which is absolutely big to have that man back. And I did predict he would return in one of these Philly games because it's at MSG. It's tough to return on the road after a long break. So yeah, it came to fruition, tonight, which was huge. As the New York Knicks won 106 to 79. We shot 35% from three, 50% from the field. Killed them on the glass with 58 rebounds. I think this should be a season high, 32 assists as well. Yeah, and Hart got the game ball, A plus. Became the 6th player in Knicks franchise to have 4 triple doubles in a season, right? And we've really needed Hart to keep our heads above water as well. So I think Hart has earned his contract, even though the contract hasn't kicked in, and that is next season. But I think the play from last season to this season with Hart, it hasn't really dropped off, considering last season was that contract year, basically. So, some people feel like a player in the contract year is a mirage, but yeah, Hart is what he is. He brings it. Man, he brings it all the time. and those guys get paid, and everything's going up, as well. So, yeah, man, great to see OG back. I mean, now in terms of minutes, I think this is pretty sweet. He might not play more than 32 minutes, which is cool because Precious is here. And we're going to talk about Precious, a little bit about the rotations. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how this, rotation's going to shake out with guys getting healthy now. And, especially Mitch is looking like he's going to be back within the next 5 to 10 games, roughly. Might be back even sooner as well. It depends how the practice goes. But yeah, man, I like OG, the 30 minutes, give Precious those minutes. Hart's always going to be playing the 25 to 30 minutes as well. So we need OG healthy, but what's going to happen is OG's minutes will probably mirror the opposing star wing. Talking about your Browns, Tatum's, Giannis's, especially that Juju is dealing with, the recovery. The guy who's going to get the assignments of the superstar on defense is this man. And he might have to go 38 minutes in the playoffs, because we need him defending, the creme de la creme, and locking them down, locking them up, man. In Rikers, right? This guy got guys in Rikers, like Vaughn says, locked him up. Yeah, salute. And I said this when we first got OG, and he played a few games, but I'm really impressed with his ability to finish. I mean, and I say that, I bring that up on the big screen. Not many guys that we have on this squad have verticality like that can actually make plays. Mitch, Sims, Precious, those guys play above the rim, but they're more of a lob threat. Randle can't really, elevate like that. He's a heavy guy. But yeah, OG's probably got the best verticality in terms of playmaking and finishing like that. And you need that, man. No messing around. You might get blocked sometimes. You might get stripped. But if you can finish strong, that's a really valuable skill that we're going to rely on in the playoffs too. He's big. He plays above his size. He's 6'7", but he can guard the 6'9", the 6'10s of the world with Giannis. And yeah, man, I can't wait to see the Celtics match up with OG guarding Tatum. That's when man, we're really gonna give Boston some problems. I think when we can neutralize that matchup, is big, and also punish them on the other side with OG splashing threes, making plays like this off the dribble. He's going to keep the other star honest on the defensive end, because you can't, as we saw tonight, you can't cheat off OG, and you can't forget about him. What's good? What's really good? Buzzer beater salute. We're giving out the grades, the flowers. The streets are buzzing, man. Great win. Great point in the season now, man, as we're really starting to get to crunch time. Right, this is what we do this for, man. With the season coming to an end, regular season, the best basketball of the year, hopefully to come for us, and we're starting to get healthy. Old head saying Burks and Bogey's deals will free up 30 mil over the summer as well. That might be to also get a third All-Star, fam. But we can then go over the cap to re-sign OG as well. Yeah, and he's been creating shots 100%. Vaughn's on the money. Like I said, he keeps the other player honest. Whoever's defending him is a headache. And when you consider we have the gravitas that Randle and Brunson can pull, and DiVincenzo, of course, and then Mitchell on the lob threat, to have a third or fourth guy who can play make and create a shot is huge. That's how we're going to light teams up, I feel. So yeah, man, great return, great night. He went as well as it basically could have gone. outside of, playing 38 minutes. And with a little bit more production, he probably would have got A+, but I'm going to go with the A. And we know he's saving the juice for the bigger teams, right? Philly was no match tonight. It was light work. Black Snake Magic in the building. OG is what is referred to in the NFL as a force multiplier, right? He's the proverbial rising tide that raises all ships. Great comment. Appreciate that. I'm needing more superlatives for OG, and they'll come as we see this more. But I'm a numbers guy, man, as well. And a 13-2 sounds really good to me. You can't beat that. And yes, other guys have held us down, but when one singular player creates the statistic that it's 13 wins and 2 losses when they're in the side, and we are 8 wins and 10 losses when he hasn't played, that shows you, man, how big he is. Yep, and he compliments everyone as well. Also, take this opportunity to shout out the guys who we traded for OG as well. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the Raptors, but yeah, RJ Barrett, quickly, I've been keeping an eye out. Those guys are doing their thing as well. So I think, like we said earlier, the trade has been a win for both teams. Obviously, we could have done without OG getting the injury, but he's back now. So that's the biggest thing. As we move along, man, not very often do we get to the third guy, and we haven't talked about Jalen Brunson yet, right? I mean, and that's a good sign. If the third player we talk about is Jalen Brunson, that means other guys have done some work, right? So I'm going to pull up JB now, and the Gold Star as well. Of course, he's playing like the All-Star. Hopefully he gets all NBA. And with that said, I'll take the opportunity to also mention Julius Randle, unfortunately, is not eligible now due to missing the required games to make the bonus. I think he missed the $1.6 million bonus as well, but that's because of the health. Julius was on track. But yeah, Brunson is the other All-Star for us, and good bounce back. I mean, Brunson really had a poor performance. He called his performance as dog bleep. With that said, I always knew he was going to bounce back like he does. But yeah, the big time shooting tonight, 4 of 8 and 7 of 12. But the best number for me, man, 27 minutes for Jalen Brunson. Got to sit with like 6.5 to go in the fourth. Really good, healthy, tick, playing well, tick, hopefully fresh before the playoffs, tick, and just light work. 20 points, 9 assists is the standout as well. On a night where the dishing was bigger than the swishing, I think, in terms of the impact on tonight. He didn't really need to score a lot to help us win, but the assisting was what broke the game wide open. And he also got onto the fast break tonight. But yeah, 4 of 8 from 3 is money, right? And really in control performance. They had no answer, man. You know what their only answer was? To foul the man, and that's when they're hackers. When we're playing a level above, levels above Philly tonight with Brunson, OG. The connection continues in that starting lineup as we started to get back our Avengers, a full strength squad. Brunson is going to be the best benefit of Randle and OG returning. Man, imagine being in his position, man, trying to hold up. I mean, we've all been in positions where we've done heavy lifting, man. And I don't know what the feeling is like necessarily, though, when, you're trying to carry a team through, like 20, 30 games, and then you start to get your guys back, right? That must be feeling amazing. That will give you, a boost in itself. And I think Brunson's really got to feel the effects of getting everyone back healthy, and he can get his game to another level as well. So yeah, let's get it for this final stretch, and I think Brunson will be fresh for the playoffs, man. Another huge playoff performance coming up, on the regular. But look for the assists to be more like tonight with Randle and OG Devo. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of 40-point nights in the playoffs for Brunson. I would sign up for 30 points and 10 assists. I'd sign up for that now because he's got help. He's got some shooting now, as well. And when Randle's back, he's going to be feeding Randle, down in the block. What do you guys give for Brunson? Great bounce back. Turned it over a hell of a lot last game. Was inefficient, but like all season, Brunson might have one bad game and then that's it. He answers the call for the next one, man, which is big. And just great to have another leader like that out on the floor as the New York Knicks win the season series against a team who, on reflection, a lot of these pundits had Philly above the New York Knicks, right? I know they've been missing Embiid, but credit to us, man. Flowers to the New York Knicks for holding it down and, for being above what was an Eastern contender before the season. And this is a big step to finishing above Philly now. Tonight was a massive statement to go, a couple of games ahead of Philly, who it looks like they're not going to get Embiid back, anytime soon. And on the flip side, man, we're getting guys back tonight, man. So would I have loved to sweep them? Absolutely. But, we forget about that other game. We look ahead now, right? We look like a different team with OG in the building. As the chat's buzzing on a great night, the New York Knicks established their dominance early and shot the ball well. But the 32 assists for the team, that's team ball for me. And well done to Brunny for 9 assists tonight. He'll get the A+ and a gold star, fam. As we move along, right, we'll talk about the rest of the starters, which was DiVincenzo. And Precious, of course, went back to the bench. Hart kept his spot. But I like what Precious did. Another great performance from Achua. And we bring up DiVincenzo, who hit some shots but had to really dig deep. He had to shoot a lot tonight as well. Devo's numbers, he was 4 of 11 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3, 44%. Hit all 4 free throws. Also got us 4 assists, a steal and a block. Just 1 turnover, 16 points on a equal team high, 32 plus. Right, so effective night from Devo, right? Not effective from the field with 36%, but very effective from 3. So that was great to see DiVincenzo 3 ball come back. That's going to help the man too, because with OG out there and sharing those minutes together, we know they're our 2 best floor spacers, baby. One in the corner on either side. DiVincenzo and OG Anunoby spaces the floor out amazing for Randle and Brunson to operate, and for the big to roll to the cup, as well. So it's a great sight, to see DiVincenzo and OG shoot combined 42% combined from 3. Right, those are our 3-point snipers, and they're going to be big, for us in the playoffs. So yeah, we rolling right now. We need to go 12 and 5 to get to 50 wins. Let's take a game at a time, but I'm not giving up. I think 50 wins is still on. You have to aim high. And I think the Knicks, if they can rattle off a few in a row, it's going to get easier, as we're going to look at the standings and the schedule in a minute and the road ahead. But really solid work from Devo tonight. He'll get a B plus for me. What's your grade, guys? Another guy who's held us down. Man, he's taken his volume to another level as well, but he's kept it consistent. So shout out to him. Buzzer's gone with the B for Donte, A plus for Brunny, and we keep it rolling. Statement against a Eastern rival and the season series, man, is a wash right now. Knicks dominate. 2 wins in Philly. Set this up this season. And we are the stronger, deeper, more skillful team right now. Vaughn's given Devo the B plus. What's good, King? Donte with the C plus or B. So yeah, great flowers, great grades coming through for Devo. Yeah, I just think he's going to continue to shoot well. I think the volume and the minutes might drop a little with OG and Randle returning, but you know what? That's going to be good for his tank, you know, because he shouldn't really need to carry us anymore with the help on its way. So we're going to hit on the final starter tonight, which was Isaiah Hartenstein, and he was huge once again in his limited minutes. And I'll take this opportunity to just bring up again the news of Mitchell Robinson imminent return, right? Getting closer and closer. I think it ties into what I'm going to say with Isaiah, because clearly, you know, he's not 100% with the Achilles stuff, but clearly he's still playing at a really high level. But also having Mitch back is going to really help Isaiah, you know, to make sure he's fresh. So once again, according to, you know, the reports today, Fred Katz, Tibbs says Mitch can run, jump, is doing practice, but contact is going to be coming real soon. You know, to me that looks like it's going to be within the next week, maybe the next 10 days, which is still going to have, like, you know, 12, 13 games left in the season. There's 17 left at the moment. So if Mitch is back by 10 games left, I think that's a really good stretch for him to get some cardio up, yeah, as well, and, you know, and just get his feet wet before the playoffs too. But yeah, it's gonna really relieve this man, Isaiah, because he's been putting in huge work. Right. And I want to acknowledge the fact that he stepped up. Give Isaiah a gold star, right? Because he's playing like a player that's should be in the most improved conversation too. And I know he's been playing at a high level for quite a while, but I don't think people expected him to step into a starting role this season and perform as well as Mitchell Robinson has, you know, in some instances, better in some areas as well, for a prolonged stay of a period of time. So for me, I think he should be in a most improved conversation. Now, he's not going to win it, of course, but I think he should be in the conversation. And with his numbers tonight, right, so effective. 19 minutes, 3 of 3, 5 boards, 3 offensive, and 2 assists from the big man. 6 points, 17 plus minus. So, I mean, that this guy would be triple double threat as well. Make no mistake. If he plays 38 minutes every single night, he is a threat on both sides of the floor. Plays just as hard as Josh Hart. Protects the rim, runs out and sets screens, then rolls to the cup. Rebounds with the best of them, right? Unbelievable guy. A great guy to have, alongside you when you're going into battle. And I just hope we get the fully healthy version of Isaiah Hartenstein, because he is a beast. Alongside Mitchell Robinson, we're going to dominate series. We'll dominate series, and I think with Mitch and him sharing the minutes, I'm cool with that. I don't necessarily think, I mean, one guy brings a little bit more rim protection, Mitch, better offensive rebounding, but then Isaiah's better on the offensive side as well. So I think they both bring different qualities, but they both help us win no matter what. So you can't go wrong, man. My grade, I'm going to give Isaiah an A minus for his role in his minutes. Right, absolute beast. Hart, buzzer beater, coming in with the A. Very similar to me, shout out. When Brunson has a big game, the big Ragu has a good game. Yeah, great correlation, man. The Nova brothers connected. What about Hart as well? We need big games from all three, which is going to be big. But yeah, we're going to talk about the bench a little bit soon because Precious and Hart will go back to their original roles off the bench. And I expect the same kind of impact as they've been having. But yeah, all in all, with Isaiah, I'm just really happy that Mitch is going to return soon, and we don't have to really, push him because the Achilles is, it could be a career-ending thing, and it's debilitating as well. So, the man, I mean, I got to appreciate him even more because the man is giving us everything. In all of his minutes, right? He doesn't take a play off, right? Which is huge. Now, let's start on the bench, right? And we got to start with the man who's been a starter for so long, but his name is Mr. Precious Achiuwa, Chewy. He goes by now, which we kind of and Buzzer Beater has come up with, right? That name is stuck on a few platforms as well. So shout out to you for coming up with that name, Chewy. What do you guys think? Right? Can we keep it rolling? Man, the man's been awesome, since arriving. Tonight was really impressive off the bench. Again, 23 minutes. Didn't lose a step. 6 of 8, 75%. Unbelievable. 8 rebounds, 3 were offensive. Awesome. 2 blocks. 5 fouls. Left it all out there, man. 4 turnovers. 13 points plus 13. So, Achiuwa doing Achiuwa things tonight, man. Beasting on the glass, blocking shots, playing hard, rolling to the cup, just being awesome. So, with that said, man, dynamite in that role, man. I mean, 6 of 8, 2 blocks, those rebounds in just 23 minutes. I mean, I kind of feel for the man because he has shown to me he's a starter actually in the NBA. Now I'm glad he's on our squad so that he can still impact winning and come off the bench. But if Precious Achiuwa was on other NBA teams, I mean the way he's playing, is deserving of this. It's deserving of, what it is, the gold star. He's playing like a most improved player in the league. And he's getting opportunities that he didn't get earlier, but we unlocked it. We gave him an opportunity, and we're giving him this platform as well for him to take advantage as well. Man, I hope we keep him. I'm already starting to look ahead to next season a little bit, just a little bit. And I think the New York Knicks should be one of the favorites to get out of the East next season. And I'm looking at, this core, and the guys who can fill in when the starters are out, guys can step in like Precious has been doing. And I'm like, man, we can't lose that. He's going to be a free agent. I'm not quite sure what the contract situation is going to be. I think it's unrestricted, but we will have his bird rights, I think, because he was traded to us, and I think we need to pony up. We need to pony up. I mean, we don't know what Julius is, with the shoulder concern as well, but just having a guy who can back up, Randle, and play with the quality that Precious has shown, and the tenacity, in the words of Clyde. I mean, he's a keeper, man. What do you guys think? Yeah, he's been a revelation. Black Snake Magic says constantly plays hard and with a high basketball IQ. 100%, man. I'll also add the skill set he's brought. He's got a feathery touch, which has really impressed me. The 3-point shooting looks like there's something there we can develop. I don't think he's going to be a Carl Towns from three. He's not going to be a sniper, but I think he can be a bigger threat as well in the corners. But yeah, the rebounding, the blocks, the steals, the wingspan is huge, and yeah, and he's just he's a New York Knick, and we won the trade, I think, in the early returns, by seeing this guy an OG, I think yeah he's playing like a most improved player, and another A. I mean, he's just been racking up A's since day one. Trying to think anything else I'm missing out on. Like you said, man, I like his IQ. I think he's really developed as a player, as with the Knicks, and that comes with game time. You do need to play to establish consistency, so that's key as well. We are playing old school Nick ball. Roland says, shout out. Tibbs finally has that team that he wants. Yeah, you said it. You said it. I think Tibbs has been wanting certain players, the lockdown wing, players like Precious, who can give you 48 minutes. I think that's what Tibbs fantasizes over, seriously, from a basketball savant perspective. I think we all have our certain all-stars and players that we wish one day would be a New York Knick. And we think about free agency and stuff. I think Tibbs thinks of players like, he thinks of the players in like profiles. He's like, I would love to have this 6'8" guard, 6'8" wing, a 6'11" guy with 7 feet wingspan, like Precious, who can give you 48 minutes and be all over the court. That's what Tibbs needs as well, and he has it, as you said. Also echo what I said earlier. I think Precious playing off the bench now. It's interesting to see, with minutes reduction, whether the consistency is going to continue with the same role but less minutes than when he was starting. But tonight there was no drop off. Really, it was even better play in a shorter sample. So shout out, right? As we move along now, though, we're going to talk about Deuce McBride, and then Bogdanovich, Burks, Tibbs, and then we'll look at the road ahead, man. Shout out to the squad and the replay squad. The chat's buzzing. Smash that like button. And the New York Knicks are coming, right? Deuce McBride. We'll talk about his night now as he continues to back up Brunny, right? Shake Milton got a couple of minutes tonight. We're good to see him get his feet wet in a little revenge game. And he's going to continue to be situational, which I feel like he's deserving of minutes now in these few games. Let him prove that, maybe he can come in the playoffs and give us a spark if a guy is injured. But right now, Alec Burks is getting minutes. They're starting to reduce. But we're going to talk about Deuce now, as he had a solid game, 5 of 8 from the field in 22 minutes. He was 3 of 5 from deep. So Miles McBride, man, whoever you got with in the off season, whether it was a shooting coach, with a girl, with someone else, keep it going, man. The 3-point shot is money. All the work Deuce put in this season, man, the guy's been shooting unbelievable. 60% tonight, 62% from the field, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 13 points, plus 5. 13 points in 22 minutes is outstanding with 3 trays. So basically thriving in that role. And that you see his role. I think Tibbs is going to rock with Deuce as the backup in the point in the playoffs, backup point. Now, if it's rolling throughout the game, I think he will keep it longer in a playoff game. If it's not going so well, he'll just bring Brunson back out sooner. That's what I think will happen in the playoffs. But Deuce will get that backup minute. It just depends on how the game is going. If he's hitting shots and he's locking down, he'll get his 12 to 15 minutes. I think in any playoff game, he might get more. But it's a really healthy situation to be in because he's hitting shots. And he's giving Brunson that rest. Right tonight, 27 minutes from JB. And I feel like we're kind of spoiled to have a guy come in and shoot this well as the backup, right? Forget about Alec Burks' minutes. I would cut them right now, as I'm going to talk about in a second. Deuce McBride, Hart, Precious, Bogey, if you may. Certain games call for it. We'll see. But we know Tibbs is going to try to shrink that rotation down, and whatever minutes at the guard spot for the backup roles, Deuce McBride should be getting the most, all of them. We don't really need Alec Burks outside of, a blowout, What do you guys think of Deuce? Buzzer Beater's gone with B+ for Deuce. Black Snake Magic with the A. Shout out, guys. Great grades. I think Deuce McBride, what a gem. What a keeper. And we signed him to the extension swiftly after the Raptors trade, and he hasn't looked back, since then. The pleasing thing is this ain't a contract year, which is good, because we know that can happen sometimes. But this man is signed, sealed, delivered for 3 more seasons after this, and 3 years, 13 million. And he's elevated his game this season as well. So huge shout out for his work in the off season. The shooting looks great. The shot is a sweet arc. I'm no shooting coach, but I do hear drills and coaches sort of talk about how important it is to get a good arc on the shot. You see Alec Burks flatline drive, inconsistent. Not saying it's the only reason and the only thing to help a shot fall, but it's a great place to start. You make sure you get good arc on your shot, and it has a good chance of getting a nice touch, nice fall, off the iron. Deuce McBride's little flick. It's so pretty, man. And the mid range is working, the floater. And the release, the high release is helping continue to stretch it for this season. And I'm going to give Deuce an A for his role. I do feel like against elite teams is the only time when Deuce might run into some trouble when Brunson sits. So we'll see how it plays out in the playoffs. But Deuce gets that first shot. That's his role now. And I think the organization believing in him, giving him that contract when the trade went down, like I said, that's got to be a really good, a vote of confidence for Deuce. I think he said that in an interview. For the organization, for the Knicks to draft him, keep him for a few years, give him some playoff minutes last season, and then give him a contract extension. I think that's given Deuce a lot of confidence. For the club to draft you and then re-sign you as well, extend you, is big. So shout out to the front office as well. The 36th pick in the NBA draft, right? We drafted Rocas 34 as well. We have not yet to see Rocas. I get asked about that all the time, man. And you know, it's handy to have a Rocas's name out there because he's an asset. He's been playing really well. He's a young player still in Europe. We don't know if he can handle the NBA game yet or how good he's going to be, but he's still an asset. We might end up flipping Rocas. We'll see. But it was tough to call it at the time. I don't think Rocas was better than Deuce. I don't think Deuce was outplaying Rocas a few years ago. But I think right now it's pretty clear that the guy we have right now is helping us win, and he's contracted to the New York Knicks. Rocas is not. But Rocas has been playing well in Europe. He won a chip with Barcelona last season. But it doesn't look like we need any backup point guards in the minute. So maybe Rocas hangs in Europe for a little bit more. We see. But yeah, like Black Snake saying, when Brunny sits, I have real confidence that we can keep the offense flowing. If Deuce ain't the best facilitator, he's hitting shots, and that's the best way to answer a run. Appreciate you. Buzzer Beater says, listening, you've changed your grade to an A. Yet respect for Deuce. Once again, shout out. Now we're going to hit on a couple guys, not too long, but obviously we saw a little bit of struggle from Bogey, Burks. It's a feel-good night, so not going to go in much on these guys. I don't really think it's worth giving out the grades for them at the minute. We'll fly through them, but Burks 1 of 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from deep. Just doesn't look like he's in any rhythm. I think Burks is a rhythm player. He's forcing it. He did pull up for the nice mid-range, but the 3 balls just don't seem to be going down. I don't know if he's finding New York City, the spotlight, to be just too much for him right now. He spent a bit of time in Detroit losing. Coming here, he just hasn't found his feet, right? And I think it's time to reduce the minutes, even more, with Hart and Precious able to play with the bench a little bit more with OG back. Deuce, Shake Milton here look pretty solid. So, yeah, well, I'd love to hear what you guys think, but that's my thoughts. I think Burks, right, just keep him in reserve right now. Keep him for insurance. Sit him on the bench. It hasn't looked great. Try to find one silver lining. That one silver lining I can think right now is that there's 17 games left in the regular season. Try not to gas out the guys who really are important. If you do have to play Alec Burks a little bit until the playoffs, I'm fine with that. If that can keep those other guys more fresh. But we know when money time is coming, Alec Burks should not be playing any minutes, man. Right now, the way he's playing, he's got a quick hook, and Tibbs just can't get with it. He's not hitting the shots, he's not defending well, and he's not impacting at all. Now, Bogey did not play well at all tonight either. One of his worst games, turned it over, tried to force it a little bit. It was a bad matchup for Bogey. See, what Philly were doing is they were doubling and swarming on the drives, which is what they did in the last game. But tonight, Bogey did try to force the drive a couple times, and then he got stripped. We need Bogey to keep it more simple. Bogey has a beautiful jump shot. Spot up, space the floor out, attack the closeout. If they do close out hard, then drive. But tonight, he was just trying to force it a little bit too much. But I think Bogey can correct it. I think Bogey can help. But he's been pretty poor defensively too. So I don't know how much patience that Tibbs is going to have with Bogey. And again, when the minutes become even more important down the stretch, I can see a world where he starts to cut them. You've got Precious playing off the bench now. He could take up some more minutes as well. But Bogey's not going to get cut from the rotation. I don't see that. Burks, I could see that. If anything, Bogey's minutes might just go down to 12, 8. but right now he's putting up around 20 as well. So, yeah, man, Mets, Knicks in the building. Big win. We're ready. Let's get it. Thumbs up, man. Thumbs up like you know what's up. The streets are buzzing. Bogey with a D for buzzer beater. Yep. I'll give both of them, man, an F, actually, for me. No impact at all. But that's just for tonight. As I said, moving ahead, I think Bogey can still help. We need a shooter out there to keep the defense on its heels. And I think Bogey can attract enough attention, and he can get hot. You know, he's like a microwave. We've seen it. He can hit you in the back with 3 threes in a row and then time out. Game's blown wide open. What I do want to see from Bogey too, though, is to limit turnovers, right? One thing you cannot do is be a traffic cone on defense, but then turn it over on offense. That's going to have Tom Thibodeau pulling his final hair out. But moving ahead, we will just touch on Tibbs right now, man, and then we're going to look around what happened around the league. As the New York Knicks create a little bit of separation in the 4th spot, which is pleasing. We've got Portland coming up. West Coast trip, man. Here we come with OG back. Mitchell Robinson back real soon. And Julius Randle in bubble wrap, basically, I think until very close to the playoffs, right? I think they're going to leave it as close as possible to make a call whether or not Randle can really push himself and take good contact and still get to his spots, I think. I still remain positive that Julius Randle will return in the regular season. I just don't know when that's going to come, right? But with Tibbs tonight, guys, I think Tibbs coached a solid game. We made good adjustments from the last game. Obviously, it helps to get his best wing defender back. Tibbs is smiling right now. He loves a good blowout. He took Brunson and Hart with 6.5 remaining. Not a perfect game, but he'll get a B+ from me for Tibbs. He also made a key decision to put Precious back to the bench. Precious was outstanding in that role. Gave us good bench production. He kept Burks' minutes pretty low, so yeah, I can't really fault Tibbs much tonight, guys. How do you feel? With Tibbs, we know the toughest decisions are yet to come, right? As we get closer to the playoffs. The great thing is, once again, guys, we have 17 games left to really start to figure out how things are going to look. Get guys like OG back who probably a little bit more on the fresh side. OG probably needs a good couple of runs to get those legs pumping for possibly 40 minutes a night against the playoff matchups. Yeah, Burks has been polarizing, amongst the whole fan base since returning. Really underwhelming. I expected that we'd see a little bit more. I always felt Bogey would be a little bit better than Burks, but I still expected Burks to give us something, man. Elfrid Payton, yeah, in terms of the impact, that's been very, very similar. I think Burks' 3-point shot is the biggest asset he has, and that just hasn't worked for him. He's shooting rushed, off balance, and line drive as well. So buzzer beater's gone with a B for Tibbs. He played Shake and he played a bit of Sims towards the end. Yeah, great work overall, man. We got a 30-point win. And back to 11 games above 500. But for me, my favorite number of the night, fam, is the 13-2 now with OG Anunoby, right? That makes me feel like we can get to 50 wins, right? With 13-2, if OG starts the season as a New York Knick, right, we're looking at us being quite possibly the number one seed, right? With that ratio, we're buzzing with OG in the squad, and we need to go 12-5 to get to 50 wins in the remaining 17. If we have a great start to the West Coast trip, that's really going to set us up, guys, ladies and gents, Knick fans of all ages. We have Portland, and then Sac. I think they're going to be our best two chances to split the road trip, and then the Dubs, and then the Nuggets to round out the West Coast trip, the final West Coast trip of the season. Man, it would be nice to split. I think these games are going to be tough, right? I would love to go 3-1, 4-0, but being realistic, I think Denver is going to be obviously really tough to win that one. If we can start well, that's the key. We need to continue some momentum. We can't be like one win, one loss, one win, one loss, like we have split these last two. After beating Orlando, we lose to Philly, we win again. We lost to Atlanta before that. If we can get some consistency, beat Portland, show up against Sacramento, win that one, and then go into Golden State thinking like, okay, let's go for 3 in a row, right? And we need payback on Golden State as well. Steph Curry got loose, beat us at MSG. I would love to beat the Warriors, man, and put a damper on their play-in aspirations, right? As I bring up now the standings and we look at what's popping around the league. For me, it's big that OG's back, of course, but everyone else just has to keep playing well. Right, Mitch is still a little way away, and he's going to be taking contact real soon. But yeah, for me, the guys need to just keep doing what they're doing, and we'll be all right. We'll get close to 50 wins. If we don't get it, we'll get really, really close. Their things sit in the East, and I'm going to refresh because the NBA.com has not updated it. Here we go. Fam, here is the East. Right now as the New York Knicks stand firm in the 4th spot, 38 wins, 27 losses. 5-5 in our last 10. It's hard to take a read on that because of the injuries as well. And I know things are going to start to turn around. But there we go, man. We are just 3 games back of the Cleveland Cavaliers. We've played the same amount of games finally. So yeah, we're both played 65 games. They have 3 more wins, right? We have 3 more losses. So 3 games between the two. Donovan Mitchell has been upgraded to questionable, I think. Questionable or probable for the next game. So it does look like I think Spider is gonna get active. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to drop some games, right? There's still 17 left, and I think the 3-game separation is really close enough to catch. But we got to start to put our foot on the gas, and get some streaks happening, right? But yeah, I'm not giving up on the 3rd spot, right? We don't know how Cleveland are going to react to Mitchell returning, but also I haven't looked at their schedule, so that's a big factor as well. The New York Knicks below us, Orlando, we went from a half a game back to a full game cushion, right? But it's still close. Guys, how are you feeling with how close it is, fam? 9 of those 17 games left, come against below 500 teams. Buzzer Beater says, man, appreciate you for that. Shout out, salute. Yeah, whether it's that's a great stat. Whether it's against good teams, bad teams, we've got to take care of business, and we've got to play like we did tonight, and I think we will. Vaughn says we'll go 13-4 down the stretch, man, for 51 wins. Shout out. Hashtag 50 wins, buzzer beater. Yeah, let's get it flowing. And as I said earlier, man, if Mitch is back with 12 to 10 games left, I think we're ready to really dominate. We do have the Celtics one more time in Beantown. So I'm gonna pull this graphic up that I've got, courtesy of MSG. This was a little way back, but the easier games, we have Detroit still. I think we have Detroit one more time. This was when we played them. This was before we played them recently. So I think we have Detroit one more time. We've got the Spurs. We've got the Blazers coming up. We have to go to Toronto. We play Brooklyn twice as well. And then, of course, we've got at Boston. We welcome Oklahoma. We go to Denver as well. We have to. We've played Cleveland, I think, already. We won that game, and then we have to go to Milwaukee as well. So, a couple of those could be the losses, but I think we're in a great position, fam. We're in a great position to get to 48, which was my prediction. But 50 would I think would lock up a third or fourth spot right now. I think it would. Yeah, I'm really gunning for the third spot with the Cavs. Black Snake says, I feel like this is a horse race. Knicks just sitting in the fourth spot, just stalking the Cavs, possibly the Bucks. Yeah. Health is the only thing, I think, man, stopping us. I think if Mitch gets back in the next week or two, Julius, if he, it's harder to even speculate because he's not been cleared for full contact yet. But when he does, it's probably going to be real quick. It's probably going to be less than a week. A few practices, full contact, see how the right shoulder feels, and then we can really go to work. We can go to battle with the full squad. To think we're just really missing two players now that OG's back, right? It's time to go on fire mode, NBA Jam, and continue that streak with OG, 13-2. Vaughn says, keeping in mind down the stretch, these games with Chicago, Milwaukee will have bigger implications for other teams. We may have to play the spoiler, fam. That is true. Very, very true. I was also thinking the similar thing where on the other side, we play Chicago twice in the final week. There could get to the point where not just Chicago, but maybe the other teams as well. Maybe we get blessed and one of these teams is already locked in their seeding, as in they can't get any higher, they can't get any lower in that final week, and we might be able to get a break where where we can pick up a couple cheap wins towards the end. But that's a little ways away. But yeah, that's a realistic possibility. Or like Vaughn said, it might be literally cutthroat. Final game has high consequences in the seedings. One thing I know, it's going to be close, right? It's the East right now, guys. It's so close and bunched up. As we sit here right now, the Magic, I've got to give them respect because I think they're better than the Pacers. I think they're better than a depleted Sixers, and they're clearly better than the Heat. So you got to think, if we stay in the fourth spot and we keep that spot, we lock it up, I got to think that we're probably on track for a matchup facing the Orlando Magic. I think at worst they'll hold the line and stay in the 5th spot. I don't see the Pacers catching the Magic. I don't see Philly, because they're not going to get Joel Embiid back. They're not going to get him back until the very last week or so of the season, if that. And that's a stretch. So, yeah. Who is your preferred matchup? And who do you think we're likely to face? I think we either get the 3rd seed and we end up facing the Pacers or the Sixers or the Heat. Or I think if we hold firm on the 4th spot, it's probably going to be the Magic. Maybe Philly go on a run, win a couple games with Embiid back towards the end. But the Pacers have a chance. I think if the Pacers can just be consistent, as we see guys in that column, the last 10 column, see the Pacers are 6-4, so they can't find much consistency. The Sixers are 4-6 in their last 10, so they're on the way down. They're sliding. The Heat 6-4, so give or take, they can't get momentum. They're running on the treadmill. The Bulls 5-5, the Hawks 5-5. So literally, they're the definition of the average team. These guys, right? They can't find any consistency. On the flip side, the Magic 7-3, and they were 8-2, I think, before the Knicks beat them. So yeah, I think the Magic have the talent. I think 7-3 looks to be like they're trending up. They can beat bad teams. They can beat some decent teams. I think the Magic are gonna stick in the playoffs, fam. OG the Warden. That's interesting, man. That's interesting. That's good. OG Anunoby, great return tonight. He's healthy. He's back, right? Finally, right before this West Coast trip, I expect us to beat Portland. I'm going to be disappointed if we don't win that one, if I'm keeping it real. Sacramento, really good chance to win that one. Let's look at where Sacktown sit. See, they're going to be desperate, right? Wins, they're fighting for wins right now. 6-4 in the last 10. So the Kings, they're on a 1-game losing streak, and they are 1 game out of the playoff spot, tied with the Dallas Mavericks in 8, right? So the Kings are literally on the edge of playoff play-in, right? So that game at home against us, that means the world to the Sacramento Kings, and I think we're going to get their best shot. I think they're healthy. I think Fox, Sabonis are playing. So I'm going to say that's a toss of a coin, man. That's a flip of a coin. I think that could go either way. I don't think Mitch is going to be back then. Obviously, we just got the team we have right now, barring any setback against Portland. But OG, is enough, I think, to beat the Kings as well. Beat Portland, beat Sacramento. Make sure that you split the road trip, and then you should not lose any ground. I don't think, for as decent as the Magic are, I think they're going to continue to win a couple, lose a couple, win a couple, lose a couple. The Pacers, 1.5 games back. So I think it's critical that the New York Knicks split the 4-game West Coast trip. I think you got to make sure that you split and get 2 wins out of there. Now, even if we were to lose against Sacramento, we could roll into Golden State as well and win. Golden State are vulnerable. If they have an off-shooting night, if we out-hustle them, get Draymond Green into foul trouble, I think we have a great opportunity. And you know what, Denver, it'd be cool to just go into the Rockies with house money. If we could go into Denver with already 2 wins up our sleeve out of the next 3, we roll into Denver as well, and we don't know, we might catch a break. Maybe Jokic is out sitting, maybe Jamal Murray is sitting. So we take it game at a time. But the great thing is, on the other side of the West Coast trip, we get back to home cooking. We face Brooklyn, day off. Then we face Detroit, another day off, and then we head to Toronto, and we head to Texas for San Antonio as well, which is, that's kind of whack. Now I remember, man, that's when, if the New York Knicks were successful in the protest against the great robbery in Houston, that was when people were expecting the Knicks to be able to replay the overtime. But it's whack that the New York Knicks have to go on a West Coast trip, come back to Brooklyn and Detroit, and then go back to Texas after that. So that's kind of crazy, but all winnable. After that West Coast trip, Brooklyn, Detroit, Raptors, right? R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, OG Anunoby, homecoming, big time, big game. And then the Spurs got to take care of business there, man. Wemby, heading into Wemby's building, man. That very well could be Mitchell Block Ness Monster versus Wembenyama, Chapter 1, right? 2 dinosaurs collide, man. That'll be insane. Get my popcorn ready. Right? I'd love to see a Mitchell Robinson healthy to go up against Wemby on that night, right? If not, we know Isaiah, maybe a Chewy versus Wemby matchup, man. Godzilla versus Kong, man. That's going to be big. And San Antonio can pull off a win at home. They've beaten some teams, so that's interesting. And then we finish March with Oklahoma, which is really going to be tough. That's at home, but that is going to be a tough one. And I'm going to pull up April, so we could take a look now, guys, as we're here popping live after a great Knicks win. We're buzzing. Smash that like button. It's now or never for us, man. Get to 50 wins, lock up the 3rd seed, 4th seed, and make this the best New York Knicks season in a decade. Right, we're making steps right now. It's about improving upon year. Right, last year 47 wins. This year we need to top that. We've improved on and off the court. Off season, it's going to be a big off season. We're going to start to do some draft content. The New York Knicks might have 2 first-round draft picks. They might pull off a huge trade on draft night as well. Right, we got to cover the draft. I've been doing some covering of some events as well, covering some draft prospects that are playing in my side of the globe. Notably, the number 1 overall draft pick, Alexander Sarr, as well, who's slated to be a top 5 pick. But also another guy, Bobby Clintman, who's projected to be a top 20 pick. He's actually been mocked to the New York Knicks. He's been playing in Australia right now this season. I had a chance to interview him as well. Right, so we'll talk a little bit more about the draft as we get closer to the off season. But here we go, man. April, we got Miami first up. That's in Miami as well. So that could be a really spiteful, clash before the playoffs, right? Miami's still fighting, and then Sacramento in our building on a back-to-back with Chicago away, right? So that could be a banana. That could be a slippery situation, having to travel on a back-to-back, especially Sacramento, who, as we said, are fighting for playoff life right now. and Chicago. They're fighting for to stay in the play-in, right? So that could be the toughest back-to-back to end the season. And then Milwaukee away, and then Chicago away again, and then the Boston away to start a back-to-back before Brooklyn to close out the second to last game of the season, and then we finish again Chicago again. Man, I'm gonna be sick of Chicago after that. As I said earlier, man, you got to hope that they're resting some guys or something's happened where the win is inconsequential, and that hopefully it can be a dead rubber, fam. What do you guys think? OG is our barometer, but Buzzer Beater says, if he plays well, we win. He helps us play well too, but yeah, you're not wrong. 13-2 is huge, man. No doubt about it, fam. And will you post that interview? 100%, man. It's actually live on NBA Streets of Buzzin' as well. Haven't promoted that channel a lot because I've been more focused on the New York Knicks and this stuff, but I have been dropping some other content on NBA The Streets of Buzzin' as well, and we're going to be pulling that up a lot more as well. Again, towards the draft. Again, I had a chance to interview some of these draft prospects coming up before the season began. But yeah, man, I'm hyped for March Madness. Are you guys hyped for the tourney? This is a really weak draft class, but it's really wide open. And I think the Knicks, if they do end up drafting one of those picks in the top 20, I think we will find ourselves a quality role player, right? That's what you hope for with a pick, in the 20s, right? A la a Quentin Grimes, a Josh Hart, right? A guy who can supplement the roster and contribute. Bobby Klintman is one of those guys. He's 6'10". He's an international. He's coming out of Sweden, but he played for Wake Forest last season. Those that may not have checked it, yeah, he had his freshman season at Wake Forest, and then decided to go pro. Right, was a borderline, I think, second round, first round pick. Decided to stay out of the draft and go pro for one season. 6'10". He's like similar to an OG Anunoby light, but with more size, more length. The shooting isn't quite there yet, but the defense is really great. Bobby Klintman, I think, will be somewhere in the 20s. And the New York Knicks have 2 picks in the 20s as well. I think he's a Tibbs kind of guy. He's defense first. He's athletic. And he can play above the rim as well, man. He's had some flashy plays, finishing on the break, as well. So, yeah, to have another guy like OG, I think, to back up OG and to give us that little bit more defense. We lost Quentin Grimes. We brought in Bogdanovich, Burks. I think next season we will be missing a kind of a backup wing who's more like OG, who's bigger than Hart, bigger than Quentin Grimes. We need size. We need length. Bobby Klintman 6'10", right? He clears 6'9", and he's big. He's mature. He's played professionally now, and I think he will get snapped up in the 20s. He's high character as well, and I think, according to what I've heard, is the New York Knicks have scouted him already as well. So there's a lot of prospects to come. But yeah, man, what do you guys think with April heading in now? I think if we are gonna end the season hot, I'm not gonna lie, I think Julius Randle or Mitch, we're gonna need them back to look at the April, away to Miami, away to Milwaukee, away to Boston, away twice to Chicago, and then you face Chicago once again, and then your home games are against Sacramento. Brooklyn's going to be a blowout, but out of those, how many games? April, 7, 8. Out of those, what, eight games in April? 7 of them are pretty tough, right? 7 are tough. We'll see. We'll see where we sit, right? It's important to close March really strong. I'll bring that up once again as we get ready to wrap this thing up. Right, let us know if any questions you've got out here before we wrap up, fam. I'm really looking forward to Portland. Once again, back on post-game Thursday after the Portland game. Hopefully we get off to a great start. Portland have been a little up and down. Let's see where they're at right now. Okay, they are 3-7 in their last 10, right, on a 1-game losing streak. They're second to last, right? So the Knicks need to take care of that. And what a great start that would be. AC in the building, salute. Hope for 50, but we need to go 12-5. Yeah, man, it's tough. And that's why I predicted 48 wins. Don't think there wasn't a part of me, when I was predicting 48 wins where I at the start of the season, that I didn't just want to just go hell with it, 50 wins. But those extra 2 wins, it's tough, right? You deal with injuries throughout the season. You deal with back-to-backs. I knew the East would be more competitive. And had the New York Knicks not suffer any injuries, we would have surpassed 50 wins without a doubt. But unfortunately, with all the issues happening, we're still in the mix to get 50 wins. That lets you know how big the season has been still, how many guys have stepped up. But yeah, it is a lot of heavy lifting still to get to that point, fam. On the surface, it sounds really achievable, 12-5. I think if we win the next 2, then it becomes 10-5. But something tells me they're holding Randle out probably till April, late March, probably April. He hasn't taken full contact yet. He's taking contact in a controlled environment to protect that shoulder. Maybe he's just getting his man strength, the Juju Randle strength back, and hopefully he comes back and hasn't lost anything, and he's still that beast, right? And I think it's wise what they're doing. As long as we can continue to hold it down and win while Randle is recovering, then that's going to be awesome, right? And look, if we do get him back for these April games, once again on screen, Miami, Sacramento, Chicago 3 times, Milwaukee, Boston, Brooklyn. With Randle back, Mitch, we can still run through those games and get 6 wins. We can get 6 out of 8 wins, 7 wins but they're gonna be tough, man. Milwaukee isn't actually as tough as it sounds compared to the years past. Boston, in the 3rd to last game of the season, they're not going to be fighting for anything. If we think about it, they might just fight for mind games, possibly. As we see, Boston are 8.5 games clear of the top seed. So barring any injury capitulation, the Boston Celtics will have already had the first seed locked up by that 3rd last game of the season. Now, maybe they don't see the Knicks as any threat, and maybe common sense prevails, and maybe Joe Mazzulla, Brad Stevens, maybe they just say, guys, let's sit. The New York Knicks are a chippy team. They're coming into our building to bang with us. Maybe we sit Tatum and Brown, and until the final game of the season, maybe to get a little bit of warm up for the playoffs, right? That's my hope. I think that's a possibility, because I know if I'm coaching the Boston Celtics, like what what is there to gain from playing a Tatum or a Brown full strength in the third to last game of the season when you've already got the first seed locked up? The only reason you can point to is that they're trying to, you know, get ready for the first round. But are the New York Knicks the best team to get ready against? If we're hypothetically fighting for for the third seed or the fourth seed, do Boston want to risk it? We'll find out. We'll find out, man. And yeah, I agree, 100%. We would be the number one seed without any injuries, fam. I think we were rolling. We're only 12 and a half games. I say only, but we're 12 and a half games back of the Boston Celtics, fam. When OG Anunoby went down, it was like, when OG Anunoby and Randle went down, it was like half of that, I think. But yeah, we would have definitely been the second seed, man. Like a 55 win squad. Definitely, man. I really want us to get to that 50 because it would be the first time in a decade since 2013, man, with Melo, J Kidd, Rasheed Wallace, Camby, Kurt Thomas returned. That was a vibe that season, right? But it was a flash in the pan, right? It was done with it. Jason Kidd got offered the coaching job in Brooklyn, and he retired, fam. We traded Shumpert, J.R. Smith. We got Phil Jackson in here. We fired Woody. We just couldn't get any consistency, man. But that was so long ago, man. We have come such a long way right now. To sit here thinking a little bit underwhelmed that we're in the fourth spot. I mean, we should be third. We should be second. That lets you know we've come a long way as a franchise, man. And as I just spoke on the draft before, regardless of what happens on draft night, the New York Knicks are in a very, extremely healthy situation moving ahead now. We've got tradable contracts that are actually somewhat valuable. We've got draft picks as well available. We've got players under the age of 28. A lot of players under the age of 28. This has been one of the years where we've really copped that injury bug. And last year we were a little bit lucky. This year, we figure things will balance back out next season. And yeah, man, next season is, shout out to Knicks 26 champs, who's been talking about it a lot. But that could be the year. This year would be nice to get to the finals. Would be nice to get to the ECF. But it's going to be tough in the playoffs without the health, I think. And I'm really waiting to see, obviously how Randle is going to feel. How his play is looking as well. I think with everyone we had available tonight, I think it's really possible to get to the second round. But I don't think we can really get to the third round without a healthy Julius Randle. It's possible if we get a break. Let's say we face inexperienced Magic in the first round. Maybe we get the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Bucks in the second round, and we could maybe make some noise, but really without Julius Randle, it's going to be really, really tough, as well. But I pray for his long-term health. Firstly, regardless of what happens from here on out, he probably will get surgery in the off season, or by the off season if he hasn't already, and that's what needs to happen. The shoulder has been dislocated, and it's going to take. Some healing as well. But yeah, he'll be ready full strength by next season, at the latest. But I'm enjoying this season, man. The great thing about sports as well is, it's frustrating at times, it's nerve-wracking, but it's the great unknown. You always have a chance, just like a heavyweight fight. a heavyweight boxer as well. Yeah, shout out Anthony Joshua again, who beat Francis Ngannou. If you caught the heavyweight boxing last week, the New York Knicks are basically like a heavyweight. We are a heavyweight in the East, and we can land a knockout blow if these other teams aren't paying attention. And that's what I mean. That's what's the best thing about sport sometimes as well. We don't know. We don't wish an injury, but we don't know if another team is going to suffer an injury as well. You've got to be in it to win it, right? And we hold on to the 4th spot. We just continue to take care of business, man. AC says, do you think we'd be a 60-win club fully healthy? I think next season it's a possibility, definitely. I think this season probably come a little bit too early because OG came halfway. There was some interruptions early. Grimes, was the starting 2 guard. DiVincenzo was coming off the bench to start the year. I think next season is going to be like, there's not going to be that many changes outside of a blockbuster. I think guys are going to come in, know their role. I mean, DiVincenzo, the best thing about what's happened this season is that he's got a chance to showcase what he can do with higher usage. OG and Randle, they're going to have all the familiarity of a playoff run. We're going to have obviously Precious alongside Mitch and Isaiah. And yeah, we're going to be ready for next season, a big run. And yeah, man, draft night, like as I said, just to foreshadow what could happen is anybody's guess, right? We could literally make a huge trade. We could trade up in the draft. We could trade back. We could flip the picks for future picks down the line so that we can keep those tradable assets. So many things that can happen, but it's going to be largely off the basis of what happens in the playoffs. How do we look? What do we need? Do we find that we're missing something? Do we find out that we've got everything that we need? And we just need to go all in. After that, man, it's going to be fascinating to end this season, man. These next 17 games, right, are just going to be absolutely huge. As the Knicks are in a great position, though, holding firm in the 4th, looking up to the 3rd. Cleveland, watch out, right? Looks like Mitchell is going to be back for them in the next game, I think. But there's still tough games to come for all these teams, right? And look, if you're Milwaukee, you can't afford to fall asleep. There's only a 4-game gap between Milwaukee and the New York Knicks. A 5-game gap between Milwaukee and the Orlando Magic, right? Any of these teams are a 5-game win streak away from making serious noise, man. It's really who can make that run and make that statement, right? Hopefully it's us. Hopefully this is the start of something special with OG returning, the bench playing out of their mind, role players stepping up, Brunson the leader here. Hopefully now, man, we go on a 10-game win streak and we take the 2nd seed, right? But we just got to keep winning, guys. We've got to keep winning. Appreciate you again for rocking out. And the streets are buzzing. Smash that like button. And I think Donte DiVincenzo is a championship caliber shooting guard. Yeah, great question. I agree that I think he is. He plays both sides of the floor. And I think, yeah, he's under a great contract as well, which helps you build all those other pieces as well. And I like with Randle, we can play inside out. We have good guard play. And we have bigs as well. We have double threat out there on the court. I think to win, you need to play inside out. Shout out to the championship teams of the 70s. Shout out because they could hit shots. They could move the ball. Willis Reed, we could play inside out. But teamwork. teamwork makes the dream work, fam. Have a great night, man. Stay blessed. And I will see you on the next one. Knicks Nation. Peace.